All right, spring is here. Time for another real estate market update, April 2023. And I just want to apologize real quick because I haven't put out a video in a few weeks because I've been having a few things going on. One is tax season, so I've been doing some fun number crunching, seeing all the fun expenses I've been spending on real estate in the past year. And then two, I got my Florida license last year. And with that Florida license, by far, that was the most difficult license to get between Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Florida was Florida. Because for Florida, you got to do 63 hours of coursework before you can even go take the exam. Plus, there's a few other steps you got to do. But then after you pass, you get your license, that first, year or year and a half before it expires, you got to do another 45 hours of coursework. And if you don't complete those 45 hours, it takes everything you've done, fingerprints, your pre-licensing, all that stuff is just erased, and you got to start from scratch. So, I've been working on that and my taxes. Enough of that. Let's dive into it. So let's talk about Massachusetts. We'll start with Massachusetts. And one thing I'm noticing right away, pulling the reports, is numbers are coming up. So, the last 30 days, average sales price, Massachusetts, $721,000. Average list price, $722,000. So about what they're asking, it comes out to about 1% over asking. But the last time we talked, the average sales price in Massachusetts was only $668,000. So now we're back up in the sevens, and back then we were about 1% under asking. So you can see that we made a pretty good jump in Massachusetts as far as the real estate bouncing back. As far as average days on market, it's still very high, 49 days average on market. But almost every category I was looking at, it breaks it down by price point. And when I'm looking, like from 250,000 all the way down to 2.99 million, you're getting asking pretty much on average. You're getting either asking 1% over, 2% over, or 3% over. Underneath that 250,000 is when you're actually not getting asking. You're getting 1% under, 8% under, and I'm not just talking 1 or 2 homes here. I mean, 8% under was 150,000 to 199,000. So they got actually 9% under asking, and there was 28 homes in that category. So, people are not paying as much for those lower properties that probably, need some renovations and need some updating. So that's just something to keep in mind with Massachusetts. As far as Bristol County goes, Bristol County, average sales price, $511,000. Average list price, $512,000. So right there, you're getting pretty much what you're asking. The numbers crunch out till you get, it's 100% of your asking price. Average days on market in Bristol County, a little bit lower, 44 days on market. But one thing that jumped out to me at Bristol County was this one category in particular, and that's 400,000 to 449,000. So that category had 27 homes in it, and it was 3% over asking. So a lot of the other ones were like 1% over asking, 2% under, 4% under, 9% under. But that was a sweet spot. 440 to 499,000, Bristol County, that's the sweet spot. That's 3% over asking the last 30 days. So now let's dive into Rhode Island. So Rhode Island, average sales price was $497,000. And average days on market in Rhode Island, even a little bit better, 40 days on average in Rhode Island. And now let's jump real quick to Florida. So Florida, average sales price, $441,000, and average days on market down there was 50 days on market. So now just to dive into some of the cities, I'm going to talk about some of my hometown cities. But first, we'll just touch base on Florida. Orlando, which, that's the big city, down there as far as the MLS that I'm involved in. And that's where I like to go when I go to Florida a lot of the time. So the average sales price there was $413,000 in Orlando. So, the big thing from Florida is 50 days on market. But Massachusetts was 49, so I guess it's about the same, but just seeing the 5 just kind of jumped out at me. So, but things are definitely staying on the market longer. But, overall, people are getting asking or a little over asking in most cases. So now let's dive into my hometown. So my hometown, I'm going to break it down by different towns and cities today. So, we're going to start off right here in Swansea. In Swansea, the average sales price was $428,000, and the average list price was $416,000. So in Swansea, the average sales, 3% over asking. So, pretty good right here in Swansea. Average days on market, 39. So that's lower than the trend we're seeing, throughout Bristol County and Massachusetts. And that's, accounts for 6 homes. So obviously these towns, they're not the biggest towns, but they're nice towns that I'm going to mention. So that's based on 6 homes in Swansea, those numbers right there. So now let's take a look at Somerset. So Somerset, average sales price, $482,000. Average list price, $466,000. So 3% over asking in Somerset. And that's based on 11 homes. So just some numbers to keep in mind. But days on market in Somerset, 52 days on market in Somerset on average. So what else we got next to us in the hometown? We got Seekonk. So Seekonk, average sales price, $543,000. Average list price, $550,000. But in Seekonk, you're not getting what you're asking on average. About 2% under asking in Seekonk. Average days on market, 38 days on market. And that was 9 homes, that accounted for those numbers. And all these numbers are the past 30 days that I'm giving you. So the past 30 days for sales, for everything that I've been giving you today. Now let's venture off into Dighton. Dighton, average sales price, $562,000. Average list price, $538,000. Now Dighton, a little bit of a hidden gem if you're selling in Dighton. 5% over asking is the average in Dighton. And that's, it's based on 5 homes, but still 5% over asking. And, the sweet spot there was $500,000 to $599,000. So there was 3 homes sold, and their average was 7% over asking. So Dighton, if you have a home and you're thinking about selling it, right now that's a hot area as far as, people are wanting to buy homes. They're paying over asking in Dighton, especially in that sweet spot of $500,000 to $599,000. And average days on market, only 21 days. So a home goes up in Dighton, people are jumping on it, so something to think about. All right, now let's look at Rehoboth. Rehoboth, average sales price, $611,000. Average list price, $626,000. Now, they are going 2% under asking. So you think of Dighton and Rehoboth as similar, towns, but a big difference when you look at these numbers. So Rehoboth, 2% under asking. Average days on market in Rehoboth, 43 days on average. And that's based on 11 homes. So, quite a bit of a difference between Dighton and Rehoboth. Now let's go and we'll take a look at, some of the homes that are over in Rhode Island, right over the border, still part of my hometown. So Bristol, Rhode Island, average sales price was $536,000. Warren, Rhode Island, $612,000 was the average. Barrington, Rhode Island was $813,000. So that's based on 14 listings. And I'm just going to dive into Barrington a little bit more, just to show you, there was a couple homes in Barrington that kind of raised the average up. So there was a home in Barrington that sold for $1.9 million, and then another home that sold for $1.5 million. So the lowest home in Barrington was $275,000. So I'll just read through some of them real quick. So one was $363,000, $411,000, $415,000. I won't read them all, but then it jumps up, when it gets closer to $790,000, $897,000. So, and obviously there's some in between there. But, so it did have a higher average, but, those numbers at the top might have skewed it up just a little bit. And, that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. So, we covered Massachusetts, we covered Bristol County, we covered Rhode Island, we covered Florida, we covered Orlando, and then we covered all the surrounding towns in my hometown area. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll dive into more cities and towns. I like to dive into my hometown, but, there's a lot of cities and towns that I'll dive into, in future videos as I do different market updates and different things like that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Keep watching. A lot more videos to come. Check out the channel. if you like what you hear and you like to get this information, please consider subscribing. So, have a great day. Take care.